Well, thank you very much. I must say that I am very blessed and lucky to have been part of a journey that for me started in 1975 at the age of 12 when I first competed in the under 12 tennis. And since then it's grown in leaps and bounds, especially to play one team sports and one individual sport. So it has been phenomenal to have played 3 World Cups, 4 associate trophies, Commonwealth Games, and also in the tennis to have played the Davis Cup, had a 4.5 years tennis scholarship in the US, and then finally also played the President's Cup in Nigeria. So in one word, it's been fantastic.
My name is Lynn from KTN. Congratulations on the milestone.
Thank you.
But my question is, you have done so much for the country, not just you, but the whole of your family. Do you feel like your family is recognized enough?
Well, that's a question that I think does not only reflect on the Karim family, I think it reflects on the sporting fraternity in Kenya for the last 50 years. I think there are many families who may even have done better than what the Karims have done. And as I keep on repeating, that the government needs to take the sports with the seriousness it deserves. As I strongly believe that if we have a Ministry of Sports on its own, with a very competent cabinet secretary and good budget, I think we can take sports to a much higher level than what we are, where we can have recognition of our past sportsmen, we can have sports film festivals, we can have a sports museum, we can even improve on our development structures. So I think, to answer your question, we need to take sports to a much higher level, and it needs to be accolade to the entire sporting fraternity, especially after 50 years of independence.
And looking at the fact that your father played, you played, and your son is still representing the country in cricket, would you say the same challenges your father went through are the same challenges you went through, and probably the same challenges your son is going through decades later?
Well, I think every generation has its own challenges. I don't think the generation my dad went through are the same challenges that I'm facing, and the same challenges my son is currently facing. So I think every generation has its own challenges. What I think is important is for the parents to be able to support their children to sports, because it's become a problem at the moment, especially among the youths. Sports has really taken a back seat. And I think it's time now that we need to revamp sports among our youths. Obviously, there are so many other side things that do happen, especially while I do acknowledge and appreciate the role social media plays. But I think it has taken a lot of control among the youths and the other games that they get involved in. So all generations have had their challenges. My father had a different challenges. He was brought up when the colonial era was there, in the 1950s, when the British government was ruling Kenya. And then when I came in, the situation improved. But of course, the finances were different. The sports at the tail end of my career become very professional. Right now, my son is purely involved as a professional sportsman. So the challenges are different right now, but I think there's a huge opportunity for sports for Kenya, and it's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry in the sports world.
And maybe my final question, your family is, it's a sports family. Has it been by accident or by design? And if it's by design, how then?
Well, that's a good question. It's definitely been by design, because my grandfather was also involved in cricket before he came to Kenya in 1926. Of course, it was social cricket. So he encouraged his children, all the 5 brothers were very much so encouraged to continue sports. But my father took it to a new level. He was, I think, eating, living, breathing sports. And in those days, as a community in Mombasa, sports was basically the lifestyle. I mean, from school, the only outlet you had was sports. So he took it to a new level, and obviously, with my mom and him, they encouraged us even further, and we have replicated what my parents did for my son. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question?
Thanks very much, and I have to congratulate you for the great work that you've done to come up with this book.
Thank you.
Most of us, as you said, most of our sporting families have stories, but they never tell them. And I looking through the book, I see there's so much work that went into it. I have only one question. I mean, which way Kenyan cricket now?
I was hoping I don't get that question. I strongly believe that we need to first accept that we are on ground zero. The results are quite evident. The structures are quite evident. Once we accept that we are in ground zero, I would strongly appeal to the leadership to call a stakeholders meeting and invite all the stakeholders in cricket, whether they were past players, whether they were past administrators, or whether they are past sponsors, cricket fans, because everybody is hurting right now. All the stakeholders that I'm talking about are hurting big time in cricket. So I would strongly appeal to the leadership to call a 2-day forum and get all the stakeholders involved to now discuss the way forward. There is no point going back and trying to point fingers and blame games, because that's not going to help. But what we need to do is to accept that we need help. We need to accept that our cricket has gone down. And if we are really honest and sincere from the leadership, I think we can give it a new birth.
That's all for me.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So now you've done a lot in the cricket world, in the sports world. Now, why are you considering, or why haven't you considered going into sports leadership so that you can give your experience and expertise?
Let me put it to this way. I think it is my duty to go into sports administration and to help where I did. But unfortunately, the structures that are there in the sports administration and the constitution that we have right now, in my view, is outdated. There is a lot of nepotism. And for one to get into the system, it is a tall order. And there is a lot of mudslinging, and the results are quite clear. You look at every sports association in Kenya at the moment is in dire stress. Least of all, NOC. NOC was supposed to get a new era, and we go back to the court, and we don't even know what the future is going to be. So again, as I said, it's the leadership that has to play an important role. I think the head of the state, and I appeal to His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, to take sports to a higher level. Kenyans have done justice. Kenyans have done well in the world stage. Results are quite clear. We lead in gold medals. We lead in every event that we go internationally. So why can't we go into that, restructure the constitutions to have more transparency, more accountability, and more competent people to come in? I am very confident that Kenya really can take a very, very strong position in world of sports. And yes, if I am invited with the way it's supposed to be, I don't think I'm doing a favor. It's my duty. It's my patriotic duty to serve, but it has to be done in a very structured and a proper manner.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Fred Mainge.
Yes, Fred.
I just want to know, where do you think we went wrong in cricket? What is the problem? What is ailing the sport?
Okay, when I always said, because I've answered this question many a times, I felt Kenya cricket had 3 golden or 4 golden opportunities where I think cricket could have really gone much higher than what Bangladesh is doing right now. I mean, I'm very proud of what Bangladesh did, because they were our contemporaries and we were like arch rivals during the days, and we were dominating them. But if you look at their cricket right now, they have taken a much, much bolder step than what we are doing. Now, the first big opportunity we had was when we qualified for the 1996 World Cup. And we beat the West Indies. We became an instant hit in international cricket. We then followed with qualifying for the World Cup in 1997, when we lost in the last delivery to Bangladesh, but we qualified for the World Cup and the Commonwealth Games of '98 and the World Cup of 1999. That was the second opportunity. We then did very well and qualified again for the 2003 World Cup, where Kenya got into the semi-finals. Those are humongous achievements. Now, where did we go wrong? If you remember the cricketing names that most of you are familiar with is the Odumbes, the Tikolos, the Sujis, the Obuyas. But we never thought that there is a period. A professional sportsman life is this much. It finishes. What comes after that? The only way to do that was to have a good nursery system, a good structured development that we needed, where you have an under 13, you have an under 15, you have an under 17, that becomes the feeding system to the national team. So it's not even rocket scientist. It is very simple. And you need to have competent administrators. You need to have the correct coaches who know what they are talking about. And we needed to support sports in school. Cricket needed to be taken into school, and those were the golden opportunities. There was a lot of cricket in the 80s and 70s. There was a lot of school cricket going on. Then there was a lot of cricket being played at the estates near the cricket clubs, where most of the Tikolos and the Odumbes came from, near Park Road, near Sarali Muslim Club. So we needed to take it up, and I think that's where the administration missed out. And I think that is the key problem.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Aasif.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, members of the media.
I also thank the media once again. Also in my sports career over the last 25 years, including my father's career and my son, which spans to over 60 years. This book or the documentary would not have been possible had it not been for the media. So I want to take this opportunity to sincerely acknowledge the media. I think the media plays a very, very important role to promotion of any and especially sports. I am appealing to the media now that they need to also help people like Paul Tarragat or myself and any like-minded people, and try and advocate in the media that sports needs to be really taken up seriously by the government. They need to step it up. We need to take it to a new level, and we need to put the structures in place. So I strongly want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank the media for the role they have played, for the wonderful role they have done, and continue the great job that you do. Thank you very much.